Hi everybody, thanks for tuning in. My name is Allegra Mitchell and I am a wildlife biologist with the Conserve Wildlife Foundation of New Jersey. I mainly work with reptiles and amphibians, so that makes me a herpetologist. And today we're going to be talking about my guy, Rozzy. So earlier this week you guys saw Rachel, who is a corn snake, and she is native to New Jersey, but Rozzy is a rosy boa. And although he's not native to New Jersey, he is native to the United States. They are native to the Southwest, so Arizona and California, and parts of northern Mexico. And they are more desert-dwelling animals, so he lives in sandy, rocky areas with a lot of bushes and rock crevices to hide in. And let me bring him a little closer so you guys can see. He is a coppery brown kind of color with the stripes there, and he's got that bluish gray background color. Whoop! You're right, buddy. There we go. And that helps him to blend into his habitat. So he will hide in rocks and along bushes and down low on the ground, and he will be hard to see because he is pretty well camouflaged. So Rachel does this as well. She camouflages into her environment, and the spots or blotches on her back help her to blend into more grassy fields that she is usually found in. So like I said, Rozzy's habitat is more of that rock crevice kind of area. There we go. And he is a little bit fossorial like Rachel, but he tends to be more terrestrial, or he lives on the earth. So he'll burrow, but he's also found just among the rocks and everything. Rosy boas get to be about 3 feet long. They can range from 2 to 4 feet, but most are about 3 feet. And they are one of the only 2 boa species found in the United States. So that's pretty cool. So like Rachel, Rozzy does also eat mice. And in the wild, rosy boas would eat small mammals, mice, rats, kangaroo rats. They'll also eat small birds, and they may even eat lizards or other small reptiles. They are what we call sit and wait or ambush predators. So he'll hang out in a spot for a while, wait for something to come along, jump out, and then he will wrap it up in his coils and constrict it, because he is also a constrictor, like Rachel is. What I wanted to mention to you guys is that since snakes, reptiles and amphibians, don't have very fast metabolisms, they don't need to eat very often. So when we mention that we feed our guys mice, we feed them maybe once a week, and out in the wild they might eat every few weeks, maybe even every few months, and they are fine with that. They don't need to eat very often. And that's because they don't create their own heat. So they don't need all that extra energy to make that heat like we do. They will find a nice warm spot to be able to raise their body temperature, to do things like digest or incubate their eggs. And as you can see in our setup here that we have, he has his heat lamp up top, and he has that nice little rock ledge that he can hang out on for when he has a nice meal and is ready to bask and digest. So rosy boas out in the wild, they do hibernate like our snakes here in New Jersey, but they also will stay pretty inactive for the hot summer months as well. So they are mainly active in the springtime and fall, and days where it's not too hot or too cold. Rosy boas will breed in the springtime and early summer, and they will give birth to maybe 5 or 8 live young in late summer or early fall. So they don't lay eggs like other snakes, and that's not totally unusual for some snake species, but it's definitely different than Rachel's. Where are you going? All right. Whoop. There we go. So Rosy boas will live for maybe up to 30 or even more years in captivity. Their lifespan in the wild is not totally known, but Rozzy is about 17 years old, so he's got a good long life to go ahead of him. Rosy boas are not an at-risk species. They are pretty common throughout their range, but they do have some threats to their conservation, just like every species. They are not as threatened by development as a lot of species here in New Jersey, and that's because they live in really remote desert areas. So they don't have that same kind of threat from people trying to build on their habitat, because their habitat's pretty hard to get to. They do have some threats from collection, although most of the individuals that are in captivity now have been bred in captivity. So Rozzy was born in captivity, and they're really easy to breed, so it's easier to just breed them than try to collect them, since they're pretty well hidden out in the wild. So they don't necessarily have a huge threat from collection anymore. They also make some pretty great pets. They are very, very docile, so he's really sweet, and they are really good at being handled. They don't usually bite, so they're a really good pet, especially for first-time snake buyers. But another threat to their conservation is roads. So wherever their habitats do intersect with human habitat, there could be roads that these snakes will go and bask on because they're nice and warm spots, and they might get hit while they're either sitting on the road or traveling across the road. And for everybody that is interested in knowing what New Jersey is doing to reduce the risks associated with roads and other habitat connectivity issues in New Jersey, we can visit the state's website for Connecting Habitat Across New Jersey, or CHANGE, and we will share that link with you guys. So I hope you guys learned a little bit about Rosy boas and the difference between native and non-native species for New Jersey. And hopefully we'll see you guys soon. Stay well, stay safe, and thank you for tuning in.